Hi guys, sorry about those technical difficulties we're having. We're still figuring out some of our remote stuff. But my name is Bella. I'm an interpreter here at the Memphis Zoo, and right now you're watching our virtual wild encounter. Today we are going to be talking about training in the zoo perspective of that. But you might be noticing that I'm wearing a mask here at the zoo. We are still following the CDC guidelines to wearing masks. It was recently discovered that non-human mammals, so cats especially, can catch coronavirus or COVID-19 from humans. And so we're doing our best to make sure that we're keeping not only our coworkers safe, but our animals safe by still wearing these masks. But I am further away from any other mammals right now, so I'm going to be taking off my mask so you can understand me a little bit better. Today, I do have a very special lizard friend with me. Let's see if he wants to say hi. This is Amir, and he is an Iranian eyelid gecko. He's getting ready to go because he knows that when he's in this enclosure, he's going to start getting some food for some training. In zoos, especially AZA accredited zoos, we do use positive reinforcement methods for training. So that means that we ask an animal to do something, and if they do it, they get something really cool. And if they don't do it, nothing bad happens to them. We don't believe in doing any punishment or anything like that. We like to do force-free things that give the animal choice and control in their own environment. Actually, we've seen a lot of studies come out that if an animal has the option to say no, they're actually more likely to say yes to what we're asking. We also make sure that our animals are getting things that they want when they train. So our gecko right here, Amir, he really loves to get food. He loves his food. So we use his cricket diet. He gets 4 crickets today, so he's going to be training for those 4 crickets. And if he decides not to train, that's okay. He'll still get his crickets at the end of the day. But we have found that he does choose to participate every single time, so we continue to train with him. Today's behavior that we're going to be working on is called target training. And target training is basically asking an animal to orient themselves or their body close to a target. So this is what his target looks like. It's retractable, so I can use that sort of length. I can make him go further away, shorter away, things like that. And it does have a built-in clicker, but we don't actually use that for him. The clicker is basically a bridge between when he does the right thing and when he gets the food, but we're pretty quick about getting him his food, so he doesn't really need it. But we are going to be using this target with him today. The target training allows us to assess his body condition, so it's really important as a zookeeper to have really good observational skills. So we have to be able to see whether he is walking correctly, using his body correctly, and sitting all of his weight on all of his legs equally. And if he's not doing that, then we want to make sure he can get the help that he needs. Another reason to do target training is to give our animals choice and control. So if he decides to participate, he gets some extra fun stuff. He gets to come out and do opportunities like this, so he's in a new environment right now. Eventually, we hope that he will be able to target into his his carrier, so that he can decide fully whether or not he wants to participate every day in coming out and seeing all of our lovely guests. So I am going to start with a little bit of a target training session with Mr. Amir here. So I do have my target, and I have my reinforcer, which is a lovely cricket. Not my favorite reinforcement, but it sure works for him. So I'm going to place this down here, and you can see that he looks at it. We're going to see if he wants to move a little bit closer to it. Oh. And you can see he got really excited for the first one. Our goal with him is for him to just walk towards the target. He doesn't actually have to touch it, but lots of other animals like elephants and gorillas will touch the tip of the target. For him, he just gets a little bit too excited, and so we just want to see him walk closer, and that's perfect. And see, he gets that food exactly when he does what he's asked to do, and so that's why he continues to do it, because it's fun for him and he gets something that he enjoys.
It's really cute. Looks like he's licking his chops because he's...
Oh yeah, he takes his sweet time enjoying all those juicy crickets in between repetitions of me asking this. He loves to eat. But not all reinforcers have to be food. Some of our animals will do things for toys that they like or social time. We're gonna see if he takes another step. That was good. Yeah. So he's doing really well. We're actually working on target training all 3 of our Iranian eyelid geckos, and he is doing it the quickest. So all different animals have all different personalities. So even though they're all 3 the same species, they all started learning at the same time with the same person, they all have different rates of learning and different ways of learning. So we can see Amir here. He's got his little tongue out on one side. That's cute. Let's see if he. Oh, there we go.
I mean, he just goes for
Yeah,
it.
he really loves it. And that's his whole session. So
Okay.
that's not too hard for him to do, and he gets something that he really likes. And again, if he didn't want to target, he would still get all of his food. We don't take anything away from him. He still gets everything that he needs, but he's choosing to participate in this. So we can tell that from a reptile perspective, this is something that he wants to continue to do.
You know, it's funny, we talk a lot on these shows, and I love bringing it up, how you said about the different personalities. People don't think a reptile has a personality.
Yeah, a lot of people think that they all just kind of act on instinct and they're not really thinking or feeling anything, but they definitely are. So Amir here loves to train, and we'll get him out on the table here and see if he wants to hang out with me. Amir loves to train, and then we also have Agatha, and Agatha is also learning to target train, but she's taking a little bit longer to learn, and that's okay. That's totally up to her. She can take as much time as she needs. We are focusing on what works best for her. She was actually a little bit afraid, or not afraid, but uncomfortable with the target being very close to her. So right now I'm working on pairing that food, that reward, with the target in her space. Unlike Amir, who didn't mind the target being in his space right away, so he was totally open to training right away. There's also our other Iranian eyelid gecko, Murray, and he is able to look at the target, but he hasn't yet learned how to walk towards the target. So he is, so they're all at different levels basically, and you can tell that even though they're the same animal, they're the same species, they have different personalities, which is really cool. Amir here loves to go for a little treadmill walk on my hands, and Agatha is more likely to sit and just kind of watch things that are happening.
Yeah, every time y'all have another animal on this show, y'all make me work for it, man.
Yeah.
Moving these cameras around.
All the angles.
Well, let's start with all the hey hellos. We got a hey from Shavo Queen.
Hi.
Denise would like to comment that it has some wild looking as far as markings going on.
Yeah, so these guys are in the genus of leopard geckos. So you've probably seen a species of gecko called a leopard gecko. They're often seen in pet stores and stuff like that. But these guys are a different species, but they all have that leopardy appearance.
And it's great that you said that, because Kendra wants to say that he does look like a leopard gecko, and Jennifer agrees because she has 2 leopard geckos at home.
Yeah, so they look very similar. They're just a little bit different. They come from a different place, and they just have a couple of slight differences in their genetics that make them a little bit different, but they're still very much related.
Well, we got a hi from Candace in Ariam. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. Y'all can't see it, but he's very close to the camera right now.
He's right up there.
To the point where I really left as much as I can get of him. Look at that great shot of his awesome spots and his feet. Denise wants to comment while she saw that target training that he must be hungry, and does he sell insurance?
Yeah, he's not quite an insurance selling gecko, but he does love to eat his crickets. He never gets tired of this.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep on going through here. We've got some amazing skills and colors. Okay, Denise would like to know, what does the tail look different than the body?
So yeah, it looks a little bit of a lighter color, and actually all leopard geckos have a different or unique pattern. He's got his little toe caught there.
I know, we're getting a great shot of that
He's
tail
just
right now. No, it's all
moving
good.
around, yeah.
We'll just focus over here on this tail.
There you go. Yeah, you can see that his tail looks a little lighter, but he does have some splotches of that color all around him. That tail is really meant to be broken off in case of danger. So a lot of lizards are capable of removing their tail without having to without having to die, but that allows them to get away from their predators. So they wiggle that tail. It's a bright color, and they make it look like it's like a worm. And so the predator will grab that tail instead of grabbing their head, and then they can still live and survive. But he does store most of his fat in his tail, so it would be a tough winter for him if he did lose that tail.
Well, it's just so you know, he's very interested in the equipment on the table, but that's all right. Does he have teeth from Brantley Walker?
Hi, Brantley. He does have teeth. He has lots of little tiny teeth. They're basically the size of a hypodermic needle. Sorry, I can't say that word today. But they're very tiny, and he can lose them pretty easily because he regrows them throughout his entire life. So he has a lot of teeth in there.
Oh, we got from Sharon. Love it. So beautiful. I have a leopard gecko that I keep for my 5th grade class in Houston.
Awesome. Yeah, they're a great learning opportunity.
So that kind of goes into that question of, do leopard geckos make good pets? We have so many people talking about it.
So they are available as pets. They can be a pet, and some people are okay with keeping them, but they have a lot of very specific requirements. They require at least 2 different kinds of lights, a lot of heat, and as well. Sorry guys, he's just going on an adventure. We again let him do whatever he wants. But they also have different size requirements for their tanks, as well as diet requirements. So these guys do require insects. They only eat insects, actually. They're called insectivores. So you would need to be able to feed them live insects, and some people aren't okay with that. They also need calcium supplements because in human care, they can have a deficiency of calcium. And that can be pretty bad because then they can get a bone disease called metabolic bone disease. And that prevents their bones from growing properly. So they have a lot of different needs that you would need to be concerned about. So you would have to do a lot of research, and you'd have to be willing to put in as much money and care for them as you would for any other pet. They do require vet exams at least once a year. Our vet does come see our Iranian eyelid geckos. So they're a lot of work, but they are really cool to learn about, especially if you come see them here at the zoo.
All right, guys. Sorry, his head is just too close to the camera stand right now. He is really interested. Presley, age 6, how many geckos do you have?
So I don't know exactly how many our herbarium would have, but in the interpretation department, we have 3 Iranian eyelid geckos.
And so if I go to those personalities, Dallas likes to tell us that he has 3 geckos, and all 3 have very different personalities. One is sweet and lovable, one is grouchy, and one's an attack machine. Kind of sounds like the beginning of a sitcom, maybe.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right, Dallas. They all are very, very different.
Okay. Here we're one from Kim. Do they change colors?
Oh, that's a good question. So they do have a lot of different colors on them. And some species of lizard, like chameleons, are able to change color, but this lizard in particular isn't really going to change color much. They do shed and grow, and they all have their individual leopard spotting, but in general, they don't change color at all.
Well, I'm so glad he loves me.
Yes.
Okay. Sandra would like to know, do they use the spots for camouflage?
That's a great question, Sandra. They do. They live in kind of a mountainous desert region of Iran, and so this spotty pattern that they have actually kind of looks like the sand that is out there, so they kind of end up looking like they blend into the sand. That's also why they have these bumps throughout their body. It helps them look like they have a texture, so that breaks up their silhouette in the sand, and they start to look like they're the same thing as the sand.
Well, we've got a nice great shot here of this back foot back here. He looks like he's got little nails.
Yeah, so that's a great point. These guys are different from other geckos for 2 reasons. One of those is that they do have those little nails. Because these guys do live in the desert, instead of having a sticky pad, which would get sand all caught up in it, these guys have those nails so that they can climb over rocks and sit in sand.
Look at that. And then you mentioned that they have eyelids, which is unusual for a gecko.
Yeah, so these guys are called Iranian eyelid geckos because they do have a regular eyelid, versus other species of gecko that don't have an eyelid and actually will use their tongue to clean their eyes. These guys have eyelids, but for the most part, I do see them still using their tongue to clean their eyes.
Could you imagine? Okay. My son went like that. Well, we're back on YouTube here. Dog Day wants to say hello. He has been tuning in every day to our chat, so thanks for watching.
Thank you so much.
Ed Boy, I should do this with my leopard geckos. So can we train our leopard geckos at home?
Yeah, so you can train any animal actually. The best thing to do is to find out what motivates your animal to keep working. So like I said, Amir here really loves his crickets. You guys could tell he was ready to get them whenever he could. But then there are other animals that will do things for their toys, like our kookaburras who love their lizard or snake toys. They love to whack them around, and that's actually more reinforcing to them than their food. They'd rather have those toys than their food.
Really?
So you got to just find what works for them and what makes them want to keep working.
Well, Gallimimus just wants to comment here. He looks extremely healthy and happy. Glad to know he's living a very wonderful life.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we do try our best here at the zoo to make sure that all of our animals are happy and healthy.
And Dog Days would also like to know, how old is he?
So all 3 of our geckos were hatched here at the zoo, and they will turn 3 years old on June 15th.
All right. Now, we talked about that climbing for rocks. Can he climb walls? Judah, age 8.
That's a great question, Judah. So you might see some geckos around your house that are climbing walls, but these guys aren't as great at climbing. They can climb pretty well, but a vertical, smooth surface like a wall isn't really their specialty.
And guys, I do see your comments about if we're opening back up. We don't have a set date yet. We're monitoring the situation day by day, but just be known to keep an eye on social media and our website, and we'll let you know just as soon as we have a date in mind. Thank you for supporting us and watching. Let's head over and go across all our channels here and see if you have any other fun questions.
Yeah, you might see him sticking his tongue out at my glove. It probably has some cricket juice on it, so he's still slurping that up right now.
Well, Kim would like to know, how big and how long will he get? So maybe pull him out so we can kind of see a visual here.
He's probably about 7 inches long right now, and this is his adult size. Like most reptiles, he will continue to grow a little bit throughout his life and continue to shed his skin to grow, but this is about their adult size. So he is about 7 inches, and he probably weighs about 3 paper clips worth of weight. So they're not very big.
And Amir, you have so many fans. Yvonne just thinks you're so beautiful.
Aww.
Kathy says beautiful colors.
Yes, he just shed actually, so he's extra bright right now. And these guys actually, when they shed, instead of shedding in pieces like most lizards, they shed their skin like a snake all at once, and then they eat it.
Every time I think of that, I just think about that. That this is gonna show my age a little bit. Austin Powers, remember that one, Goldfinger?
Yep. Yeah. Tasty stuff.
So it's probably as nutritional for him versus Goldfinger, who's just got an interesting habit. And we're gonna leave it at that. Yeah. Well, it's so interesting, and this maybe sounds silly, but in the past, friends, I feel like always get geckos confused with amphibians. Like, instead of thinking of it as a lizard, they think of it as an amphibian. Why would that be?
So these guys do actually have a body plan that looks a little bit like a salamander or a newt, and those are amphibians. So those salamanders and newts are related to frogs and toads, and these guys also don't have the visible scales on their body. So when you look at him, his skin looks pretty smooth. Even with those bumps, his skin, it looks like it's one piece. He actually just has really tiny scales all around. But
really?
Just like a newt, it kind of looks like it's a smooth skin instead of a scaled skin.
Now, Idea, you say you're looking at your glove because maybe there's some good cricket juice, but I see him looking around too, including at the camera stand here. What is he exploring with his mouth? Like,
yeah, so
maybe a reptile would?
Yeah, like most reptiles at least, he has a special organ in the roof of his mouth called the Jacobson's organ, and he just really loves his camera stand, guys.
Sorry, everybody.
So he uses his tongue to smell, actually. So he can pick up scent molecules in the air, and then he can smell everything that's around him. So he's smelling everything that's on me, on Whitney, on the camera stand, anything that they've been near.
And unfortunately, I do have 3 cats and a dog, so he's probably getting a whiff of things.
All sorts of things.
Well, I'm going to try to pronounce his name. Kyle. How long, age 12, wants to know how long does it take him to shed?
Hi, Kyle. That's a good question. So they start to go kind of an opaque bluish color, and it takes about a week for them to go from that opaque color to then fully shedding all of their skin. They shed most of their skin in one night, but they are that opaque color for a little bit. But he does just shed it like it's a jacket, and then he eats it all.
That's so fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing to witness when you do see it.
I'm trying to keep up with.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Sorry, guys. I keep moving the camera. I'm trying to keep up with him.
Steps in today.
Oh, well, we got a question about someone's gecko at home. Hi, my name is Candace. And is it normal? I want to know if it's normal for my gecko to try to climb the glass at home.
Hi, Candace. So a lot of lizards, when they are bored or when they see something outside that they really want to go and explore, will start to climb their enclosure. The best thing that you can do is to get a bigger or more exciting space for him, or to make sure that you take him to the vet to see if there's any underlying issue there.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks all for watching. Let's switch around here. Gallimimus wants to know, does he get any enrichment?
Yes, that's a great question. All of our animals here at the zoo get enrichment at least once a day. We do different types of enrichment throughout the week. Our leopard geckos really love scent enrichment. So we can give these guys some of our bird feathers after they've been sanitized, and so that's a really cool scent and also a cool texture for them to get. So they love to explore that. They love to smell dirt that's been in other animals' enclosures. And also sometimes we can give them different scents like rabbit urine, and they really like that too.
So what is particularly Amir's favorite scent so far?
He really seems to love his feathers. I think they also like the texture too. It's so soft and interesting to them.
That's really fun. You know what? Who doesn't like, stroking a soft feather on their face?
Yes.
Let's be honest. Kids everywhere love that.
Yes.
Kim would like to know, how long do they usually live?
So these guys are going to be living about 10 to 15 years in human care. We don't know a lot about them in the wild because they are not super studied. We don't even know their conservation status right now. They're actually classified as data deficient. These guys live in a pretty hard to reach, really mountainy, rocky area in Iran, Syria, Turkey, and Iraq. So we don't know a lot about them, but we know that in human care they live about 10 to 15 years.
Okay. Yvonne's on here. My granddaughter wants to work at a zoo.
Awesome.
If left to her, we would have a full house of animals.
Yeah, that seems to happen to a lot of zookeepers or future zookeepers. It is good practice to learn responsibility and learn how to take care of an animal.
So what could she do now besides have a house full of animals to prepare herself to be the next Bella here and have a fun career as an interpreter or a zookeeper?
So we actually do have a volunteer program here at the zoo. So when we open back up, you can look into some options for that. You can also volunteer at a local animal shelter to learn the different tasks that you might have to do. A lot of zookeeping is cleaning. We do have to do a lot of physical labor. But another thing you can do is start watching animals out in the wild. So if you have a bird feeder, you can look at all of the birds that are out there. You can start trying to identify their species. You can also look at the different butterflies that are in your backyard. Sometimes when you have a bird feeder for long enough, you can start to recognize the birds. So if you can start trying to recognize the different families and understanding their behavior and learning about them as individuals, those observational skills are super important to what we do here at the zoo.
All right, and Kim has another question for you. Would this be a good class pet?
So leopard geckos could be a good class pet. Iranian eyelid geckos would be a little bit harder to come across since they are less known about. You could get a leopard gecko. You just have to make sure that you're willing to take care of it on the weekends, on school breaks, all stuff like that. And make sure that it has the right light and heating, all that kind of stuff. Doing your research is just really important when you have reptiles.
I think so too. They're probably thinking about handling and children, all that stimulation. How would a leopard gecko or Iranian gecko handle all that chaos?
Yeah, so it depends. We have to do a lot of work with our animal ambassadors like Amir here at the zoo. We make sure that they're comfortable being around different people, being around new things all the time. We've done a lot of work to take them outside, to have things that they would never experience otherwise. So you could find a leopard gecko that would be interested in being handled, but there aren't a whole ton that would be readily interested in doing that. Amir here is still even getting used to being around people and being in hand all the time. So you might want to go with something a little bit bigger, or something that you can just look at but not touch. That's also an important skill, I think, to teach little kids, is that sometimes we don't have to touch things to understand them or appreciate them.
Yep. As a mother of 2 children, I say this a lot. Look with your eyes, not with your hands.
Yes, that's always a good motto.
Well, looks like Amir here is getting kind of worn out, and I think we've answered all of our questions today. I'll take one more scan through. Is there anything else at home that we need to know how we can help maybe the skinks, lizards, and all of our reptile amphibian friends?
So there are lots of different things that you can do. The best thing that you can do to help all animals is to reduce everything that you're buying and to reuse things that you do buy. You can also make sure that you're picking up your trash. We don't want to litter and leave things in the environment. We also want to make sure that you're cleaning your hiking gear and your fishing gear and your hunting gear between different places that you go to, so that you're not spreading different diseases. You can also come visit the zoo here. Donate to us as well. We have our Emergency Animal Support Fund, which we are still using. We still have a lot of expenses. It takes a lot of work and money to feed and care for our animals. You can also become a member, and once we open back up, there are some cool perks that you can get by being a member. So if you guys want to come join us and come maybe see Amir, he might be out while you're here. He would be happy to meet you guys.
And before we sign up, just to let everyone know, I do believe it's National Teacher Appreciation Week.
Oh, awesome.
And Bella here, if y'all didn't know, as an interpreter, is part of our education program, and in a way, a teacher herself. So Bella, happy Teacher Appreciation Week.
Thank you, Whitney. Thank you. Happy National Teacher Appreciation Week to all of our teachers out there. I know they're doing a very important job and working extra hard to make sure that people are still getting the education that they deserve during these hard times. But we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Amir here had a great time showing you all about target training and about Iranian eyelid geckos. Again, if you want to donate to us, we have a link to that on our Facebook page. And we will see you guys tomorrow with another new friend.